Have you ever felt like you just were not enough? Whether it's business or life or whatever is in front of you, just feeling like what you have is just not enough to offer and to solve the problems that are in front of you. Well, bestie, if you have ever felt like that, first of all, I empathize. I too have felt that. And that is why today we have a very special episode of the Real Estate Bestie podcast, where I'm sharing with you one of our bestie Bible studies where we look to the word and see exactly what Jesus said when the disciples thought that they did not have enough. I pray that this blesses you. If you ever want to join us live, go to bestieBiblestudy.com to sign up. We do it once per month on Zoom, and we would be so blessed to have you. Now, let's find out why what you have is more than enough. Have you ever felt like you were not enough? I know that I probably wrestle with this on a daily basis, right? Just feeling like you're not good enough, not smart enough, not talented enough, not savvy enough. Like we all could probably put something in the place of the before enough. But sometimes it's just like what I have to offer. It just don't seem like enough, right? And I'm thinking about, just recently, just with a lot of things that are going on in the world, like in my micro world and in our macro world, where it seems like all I could offer is prayer because like I don't have the solutions or, I don't know how to fix anybody's problems. I don't know if I shared, as a matter of fact, it hadn't happened last time we had Bible study. One of Corey's really good friends passed away probably 2 days after that we had Bible study last year or last month. And as a matter of fact, his wife posted like today is the 1 month of his passing. And it just seems like I want to fix it for her. It just seems like the prayers aren't enough. Y'all are here with me. So today we are going to dive into a very, very familiar part, a very familiar passage in scripture. And in my study, I found out that this is the one miracle that Jesus performed that's actually recorded in all four gospels, right? It's in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And the interesting thing is that I think about like if all of us went on a trip together, because this is the disciples, they were journeying with Jesus. And if we all went on a trip, we all spent a weekend together or a month together, right? And each one of us, when we retold what happened on the trip, normally what might happen, like my highlight might have been the boat ride. Carla's highlight might have been the buffet, right? Erica's highlight may have been the butterfly garden because I know who Erica is, right? But could you imagine if all of us like pointed to one moment? That tells me that like it's something that we need to pay attention to. Not that you don't have to pay attention to everything that's written in the Bible, but definitely I thought that this was interesting. And today we're going to talk about the story of when Jesus fed the 5,000 with the 5 fish and the 2 loaves. And I want to give a little context, which is also why you read your Bible. We're going to really be looking at the version that is in Mark. But you can find it in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And I do encourage you to read all the versions because there are some differences and some different things that are highlighted in each one. But I want to give you context of what happened, what was happening before this miracle, because I can't even go into it too deep because I'm start crying, but it always blows me away when you look to see what happened. So what had happened was John the Baptist, you know who John the Baptist was, right? He was Jesus's first cousin. He was, well, I don't know if they say first. I think the blacks, we call him his first cousin. So, I don't know. But I was saying, look at Kim said, oh my gosh. I don't know if it was his first. I think it was his first cousin, okay? And he loved John the Baptist, okay? Type of cousin, some of our cousins we don't really fool with. Don't type that name. But type the name in the chat of your cousin that you love, right? Like that cousin you love. Like for me, I love all my cousins, but like especially when I was growing up, it was my cousin Bam Bam for me. right? Like my cousin, like to me, he was the missing member of New Edition. Bam Bam was just flat, and he had that Gumby haircut, and he was cool, still is cool, right? So that first cousin that you love, that's who John the Baptist was for Jesus. Okay, well, John, he was murdered. He was beheaded in many instances, and there's a whole story, and I want you to go and read exactly why, but it was on account of Jesus, right? That John was murdered. And Jesus gets the news that his first cousin was murdered. He retreats and he stows away with the Father as he commonly did. And as he was coming back, still, I imagine, because Jesus is fully God, but fully man, which means all of the feelings and emotions and things that we feel, he understands. Grieving came and there was a crowd gathering because word of him was getting out. People, they want him to heal them. And one thing, like the thing that I just want to point out here is that he was still on mission while he was in pain. He was still on mission. He still was on assignment while he was in pain. And that just speaks volumes to me because, like, this community was born out of pain, right? And sometimes when we model, like we don't always think about what would Jesus do? Jesus won wounded. He was on mission always, regardless of, just the gravity of what was going on around him. But he was smart because what did he do before he was with the crowds? He was stowed away. He went to a desolate place with his Father. And sometimes for a lot of us, we need to be on assignment. He's calling us to be on assignment, but we're not stopping. We're just trying to go, 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 go. Right? And obviously, because Jesus had that time with the Lord by himself, even though he was God, he was with his Father. We don't know what was actually said or done. I don't know if he was sleeping. I don't know what that is, but I know that he continually in the Bible prioritized that time. And oftentimes in between these miracles, they make reference to him taking that time away. And I just wonder if you are feeling overwhelmed and stressed in the areas that you know God is calling you to, and you know what's your assignment, but you're not tucking away with the Father. That's just a wondering. That's not even what I'm talking about tonight. That's just a wondering as we go. So let's get into what we're talking about tonight. So I am starting with Mark chapter 6. Give you a second to get your real Bible. I'm going to read it all the way through, and then I'm just going to share some aha moments, like what I don't even know if the word is wrestling, but just kind of observations and things like that. And I always like to share, like, I am not like a formally trained Bible teacher. I just love the Lord and he told me to do this. So here we are. Okay. So here we are. So verse 30, the apostles returned to Jesus and told him all that they had done and taught. And he said to them, come away by yourselves to a desolate place and rest a while. For many were coming and going, and they had no leisure to even eat. So Jesus is telling the apostles, like, y'all go rest, right? Like, y'all go rest. And you've had so many people coming and going while I was away. You haven't even had an opportunity to eat. Go away for a bit. And they went away in the boat to a desolate place by themselves. Now many saw them going and recognized them, and they ran there on foot from all the towns and got there ahead of them. When he went ashore, he saw a great crowd and he had compassion on them. So Jesus, grieving, went ashore, disciples are coming back. He saw a great crowd is gathering. He tired, they tired, but he had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. And he began to teach them many things. And when it grew late, his disciples came to him and said, this is a desolate place, and the hour is now late. Send them away to go into the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves something to eat. But he answered them, you give them something to eat. And he said to them, shall we go and buy 200 denarii worth of bread and give it to them to eat? And he said to them, how many loaves do you have? Go and see. And when they had found out, they said, 5 and 2 fish. Then he commanded them all to sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat down in groups by hundreds and by 50s. Okay, I'm going to stop right there in terms of where we are with the text. And I just want to give some context and just kind of like what I'm seeing here. So we've already established that, Jesus grieving, he come back, his public ministry has grown. So pretty much everywhere he go, there is going to be a crowd, right? There are people who the report of him is growing. And now there is a lot of evidence in each of the gospels up until this point. We see him healing, we see him casting out demons. So people are coming in droves now, though, right? Because we will learn shortly that there were 5,000 men, not including the baby mamas and the kids, okay? So there are a lot of people there. And I don't know about you, but like people take a lot of energy out of you, right? But he saw that they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he started, even in the midst of his grief, even in the midst of everything that was going on, he starts to heal them. He starts to minister to them. He starts to teach to them. So the disciples, though, right? They looking. I bet that they are assisting. And they're like, oh, he's still healing. Okay. He's still talking. He said, it's getting later, right? It's getting later. You ever seen like I'm thinking my best friend Michelin here, right? I remember my mama being like, okay, now it's getting dark outside. Michelin needs to go ahead and go across that street before it get too dark, right? Like it's getting late. Her mama gonna be looking for him, right? So the disciples are looking to say, we got a lot of people here and they need to go. They need to go get something to eat. We need to dismiss them because this is about to be a problem in a bit. They've been here for a long time. So the first thing that I notice is that the disciples are observant because they see a need, right? They're not waiting for the problem to come. It doesn't say somebody came and said, y'all got some chicken, right? They see a need, they see a problem, but they go to Jesus and tell him how to solve the problem, right? So they're like, hey, these people need to eat. It's getting dark. Just like Jesus didn't know it was getting dark. It's getting dark. You probably want to dismiss them so that they could go ahead and catch the restaurants before they all close. Because if you hold them any longer, we're going to have an issue on our hands. The thing here that is interesting, and these are just a couple of thoughts that are in my head, is like, number one, Rosemary, when you see a problem, whether it's in your life or in somebody else's life, because we like to insert ourselves in other people's stuff. Am I going to God to not only tell him the problem like he don't know, but also give him what I think my solution should be, right? Fully God. He is God. I know that the Bible says that his ways are not like my ways, right? But hey, I see this problem. Lord, this is what's happening in my finances. If you can go ahead and send 4 clients, that would be Gucci. Right? Oh, I see my daughter in this relationship. If you can go ahead and do this and that, that would be great. I see what's happening with my husband. I see what's happening with the world. If you could go ahead and do this thing, I would appreciate that. I don't know about you, but I'm just wondering, are any of you like me and the disciples that would automatically or find yourself seeing the problem, but not even asking the problem solver how to solve it, not praying about it, you're offering it to him, but you're offering it to him kind of in a, I want you to do this for me. I just wonder, right? And that was like my first question. So the question that I asked myself is, am I taking my problems to God for him to solve them or for him to do what I want him to do? And then my observation about the disciples is that they see the need. So I appreciate their intuitiveness, but their response, even though they're walking with Jesus, who is doing the supernatural every single day, is practical, not prayerful. So am I only bringing practicality to the problems? Or am I praying about it. So that was my first thing. Okay. So we often report the facts to God instead of seeking his solution. And then when I take it a step further, they also didn't want any part in solving it either. They wanted it to go away. Get somebody else to do it. Send them away so that they can go get something to eat, get somebody else to do it, and we're telling God what to do. But he answered them. Jesus be clapping back to me. You give them something to eat. And he said to them, shall we go and buy 200 denarii worth of bread and give it to them to eat? That's actually, and they said to him, this is the disciple, like, okay, you want us to give them something to eat. We got $200, 200 denarii for all these people. I'm looking at the resources that I have. So are you telling me that I should take this little, I should take my not enough and just go buy enough food for what I know is not enough? Because now they're still being practical. But let's go back and just look at it. God actually, even before they get to the part where they're asking him. Okay, and sometimes we can ask. Like sometimes we get. I grew up. I don't know if it was a theology, but I just grew up with like you don't question God. And I wish I could tell you. I don't know if I'm just not an evolved enough Christian. Like God, I honor. Like I will follow what you say, but sometimes I have questions. Sometimes I got to talk to you and be honest about what's in my heart. And sometimes I'm wondering like, how am I going to do the thing that you're asking me to do? And I don't know about you. Has God ever told you to do something that you know was not possible with what you had in your hand? Like you're telling me to give them something to eat, but they're still operating. Just their response shows us that they're still operating and thinking about their power and not the power of the one who is even giving them the commandment, right? And I wonder for myself and I wonder for you, are we being so practical, just only looking at our resources, even if we know without a shadow of a doubt that the instruction is coming from God, that we are still negotiating like, did you say what I think you said? Because am I just supposed to use this to go and give them something to eat? But what I love about it is that he was not shaken, right? And what we're going to find out and what happens here, they're looking at the money, at what they have in the actual like currency. And he's like, well, how many loaves do you have? Go and see. So what that tells me, like the part that makes me stop and think right there is, are we so focused? Am I so focused on being practical that I'm not even looking at the resources around me because I'm only thinking about the way I wanted to solve the problem, right? And I think about like in my own life, I can give a really great example that a lot of y'all resonate with because y'all know Kim. When we started Real Estate Bestie, I didn't even know what we were doing, but I knew that it was going to take a whole lot. I didn't even know what the direction was, but I knew that it was going to take a skill set that Rosemary does not have. Like y'all see me fumbling with going from stop screen to share screen, right? But when he tells you to do something, if you're only looking at what's in your hand, it can create blinders because there are resources. Sometimes there are resources there. I am pretty sure that for all of us on this call, whatever God has for you to do in your life, he has already resourced you with the finances, with the people, with the connections, with all of the different things that you need to do in order to fulfill the plan. But the thing is, in order to fulfill the plan, you're going to have to step outside of yourself. In order to do the impossible, you're going to have to partner with him and take direction. But oftentimes, we are still only focused on what we can see and have already decided what we have is not enough, right? The money ain't enough. And yeah, we got these 5 loaves and the 2 fish, but there are also 5,000 people. It's not enough. So we're focused on not enough when you are sitting and have direct access with the God who is more than enough. He is the creator of everything. right? And I love, and this is the really dope part. And this is the dope part. Like, there, right here, Jesus, if he was me, anybody talk to your kids like, man, give it to me. Let me just do it. He really could have dismissed them. I'm sick of going back and forth with you. Y'all done been rolling me all this time. Y'all ain't even asking me. Move over there and let me just perform this miracle, and then y'all watch it be in awe. But even though their responses were practical, he still is going to invite them into the miracle. He's still going to invite them to participate. And this is what I love about it, because, like, friends, if everything that you do is within your power, and you know it's within your power, then we don't need a savior, right? Then you don't need a savior. But I love that even though I doubt, even though I wrestle, even though, I still some days, and I think you still some days, wake up feeling less than not enough, when he expanded what you had yesterday and the day before and the day before, he still invites us into life with him. He still invites us to not only witness the miracle or experience it, but to participate in it. Like that is mind-boggling to me. They see lack, but he sees an opportunity. He sees an opportunity to even let their confusion, for his glory to be revealed, right? And I love this. And this is what they missed. They never asked Jesus what to do, right? So we got to figure out, like, when you are faced with something, ask God what to do. The impossible. You get that impossible bill. You dealing with this impossible child. You faced with this impossible market. You're faced with, what if everything's going good, but God is asking you to do something that going to disrupt your life? Like, what you mean you want me to invite them to live with me? What you mean you want me to give this thing, right? But when you are faced with the impossible, ask Jesus, okay, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Because this is what we know, that God does not run out. And this is what I wonder. My junk may not be your junk, but this is what I wonder. I wonder if at least one of the disciples knew that there was 5 loaves and 2 fish, but was counting them and counting the people. If I speak up and give these 5 loaves and 2 fish, what we gonna eat? What's gonna be left for us is barely enough for us. Okay. So I just wonder, because that's the way I would roll, right? Has the Lord ever asked you to do something? Has the Lord, let me tell you, okay, we telling junk. Here's my junk. Last month we did the Real Estate Bestie experience. Kimberly, be my witness if I'm lying. We had a $10,000 need. We had a $10,000 need. An immediate, like, turnaround, quick $10,000 need. And I was like, Lord, I even told Kim, I said, I don't know where it's gonna come from, but we're gonna make a list right here of when this money roll in this week, where it come from, so that we can go, look, so that we will have evidence, okay? One more night I'm in the shower, and the Lord told me to tithe $1,000. I was like, you didn't hear what I said. You heard me wrong. I didn't say put the other zero back. I didn't say I had an extra G I didn't done what I was supposed to do with the church. I didn't say I had an extra like that. I said I have a need of 10,000. So I'm really not in position to take my not enough and give it. Okay. But let me tell you what I know. I know not to be disobedient. I know when you clearly hear from the Lord, right, what he wants you to do. And I knew that I was clear. It was more of like a trust you. And one of these translations, I believe, is the translation of either Mark or Luke. Jesus asked them, and it literally says, he asked them what they had because he was testing them. It literally says it. It says he was testing them. And I knew in that moment, even before I was reading this,
Like, this is a test because I know he's telling me to spend this $1,000, but I really need $10,000. What am I gonna do? Before I wasn't even dry before I was on the app giving the $1,000. And Kimberly Howard, was the need met for us?
It was.
The need
The,
was met.
yeah, like various things, people, opportunities. Yeah.
The need was met. And this is my thing. Sometimes, though, the need isn't, and this is not like a prosperity gospel situation, because sometimes he will meet the need. Because honestly, one of the ways he met the need was an invoice that needs to be paid. They just didn't ask for it. Right? Literally, that's literally what it was. Like, I was stressing about this one invoice, and he's like, but this is why I know, because I know without a shadow of a doubt that we were doing what God told us to do. We were walking into this thing with not enough resources, not enough, money to pay the speakers, not enough this, not enough that. I knew it was, but you know why? What? But he was inviting us to participate in the miracle. But there was still a test in the midst of it. So I'm saying that to you, friend. Where is he maybe testing to see, do you trust me? Or are you going to hold the little you got because you think it's not enough just for yourself? When I'm calling you, I'm telling you to release it. And that release is more about demonstrating our trust in the Lord. But y'all, the word is so good. It is so good. It is mind-boggling. So now let me pull up. So we hear he said, "What you got?" They like, "We got 5 and 2." We can all agree, five fish, or 2 fish and 5 loaves. Can we all agree is not enough to feed 5,000 people? Can everybody agree there? Can everybody agree? Can we all agree? Right? It's not enough to feed the 4 homies at my house. Okay, it is not enough. But what happens when you take your not enough and give it to God? Then he commanded them to all sit down in groups on the green grass. Period. What happened next? So they sat down in groups by hundreds and by 50s. Let me tell you what it does not say in any of the translations. It does not say, "All right, Jesus, what are we finna do?" Right? It does not say, "Okay, so you want us to go fishing?" Right? It just says that they obeyed. They obeyed. How often, we women here, so I already know, just say me. How often are you not moving unless you get the whole checklist? You want to know steps 1 through 37, and 37 is unclear, so you need sub points 37, A, B, C, and D. Right? We want to see the whole picture before we will move in obedience. And here's the deal. When you move in obedience, that is a faith move. The Lord is looking for us to make faith moves. And let me tell you why you can make faith moves. Like, if you're confused and not making faith moves, I would dare to say that one of the reasons why you're stuck and it's hard not to make faith moves is because you're standing on a faulty foundation. You're standing on a faulty foundation because you probably are operating, like a lot of us have, on borrowed faith, on Sunday morning faith, on what your mom and them told you about Jesus, instead of being in this word on a daily basis where you are building your own foundation. Right? It's hard to have faith in somebody that you don't trust. Thanksgiving is coming. Can anybody bring the mac and cheese to your house? No. It got to be somebody who you got faith in. The only way that you got faith in them is if they have proven themselves over and over and over with the mac and cheese. True story. One year I was trying to make mac and cheese. It was the soggiest, most worst mac and cheese in the world. I don't eat mac and cheese. Don't take my card. It's not my jam. Right? So I would never be the person that you would invite to do the mac and cheese, because if you tried it once, then you know that I'm not it. But baby, when you try Jesus once and again and again and again and again and again, yes, I'm going to follow everything that you do. But what happens is, and one of the besties told me this, sometimes we get spiritual amnesia, which is why I asked Kim, I was like, write down. I don't know where this money gonna come from, but we're gonna start a list. Because next year, if you call us to do it and there's a need, I don't want to get spiritual amnesia and not obey what he's telling me to do because we forget, which is why I love a journaling Bible, which is why I encourage you to journal your thoughts, journal your prayers, because sometimes our God is so good to us that our blessings are so common that we know the story of like, yeah, I was struggling and now I'm doing better. No, boo boo, your life was going to get cut off, right? Like no, boo boo, he was never coming back. Or honestly, you should have put him out. But when we sit down and we see, like, I was able to depend on God over and over and over and over and over again. So yeah, now when you tell me to do something, I'm going to do it. So the disciples started off a little rocky, trying to tell God what to do. But somewhere in there, I appreciate what they're modeling for us because now they're modeling dependency. Okay, you want us to go sit down and put the groups on the green grass? So they sat down in groups by the hundreds and fifties. Can you imagine all the questions the people had? Why are you doing that? Where are we going? Why are you putting us there? Who is questioning what God is calling you to do, and you are more intimidated by their questions than you are committed to being obedient? Right? We have to commit to being obedient to what God is calling us to do. And I so appreciate that they just obeyed. They just obeyed. So now what happened when they obeyed? What happened when they took their not enough, their 5 and 2, and they obeyed what God told them to do? And taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, he looked up to heaven and he said a blessing. That deserves to stop right there. Some of us won't even take out our not enough or I'm not good enough. Oh, I'm not going to get on social media for my business because nobody want to hear from me. Oh, I'm not gonna, whatever it is. I'm not gonna, they don't want me to help them. I'm not even gonna shoot my shot, right? But no, what did Jesus do? He took it, he looked up to heaven, he took what was not enough, he said a blessing and broke the loaves and gave them to the disciples. What I also think is so interesting, and somebody highlighted this to me this past weekend when we were talking about this, is like it wasn't like when manna fell from the sky, right? It wasn't that there was a rush. It was he kept breaking it and he kept multiplying. He kept breaking it and it kept multiplying. So you're seeing I told the story, you may have heard me say it on social media. I was on my family reunion. We had a family reunion in Texas, and I ordered food for the family, and I was like, oh crap, I didn't order enough. It was Hutchins, and I got a lot of thick people in my family. But I did not expect everybody to make 2 and 3 sandwiches, right? I was thinking you would get one sandwich, leave a little bit, but it was so good. People were just eating. And my cousin walked up to me during the family reunion, and he was like, "Cuz, I don't know if we got enough. I don't know if we got enough." I was a little worried about it, but I'm like, listen, it is what it is. We got to do what we got to do. Family reunion ends. They pack up what was left over. We get back to the hotel. Same cousin walk up to me as other family members are still lined up making brisket sandwiches because we had more than enough. He said, the Lord sure multiplied that, didn't he? Right? So either you can worry about it or you can just give what you have to offer and trust that he will multiply. Because guess what? This is the part that we might miss. Who do you think loved them people more, Jesus or the disciples? He was there to shepherd them. So he is going to meet their need. He was going to meet their need with or without the disciples, but we have to trust that he will multiply our offering. So he took the 5 loaves and he divided the 2 fish among them all, and they all ate and were satisfied. So he took what was not enough, and it was satisfying to everybody. And they took up 12 baskets full of broken pieces and of the fish. And those who ate were 5,000 men. And we know when you look at different Bible commentaries, they estimate it might have been anywhere from 10 to 13,000 when you count the women and the children. All from giving God what was not enough. So this is my question to you. This is my question to me. We all have 5 and 2. We all have resources, something that God has given you. What is your 5 and 2 that you are discounting and thinking is not enough? I know for me, when I got into real estate in particular, I was thinking like, oh, I'm just a school teacher. Teaching, that ain't enough, right? I'm not fancy. I don't walk slow in Louboutins. I don't know the language. Like I'm looking at what everybody, and this is something else. I'm looking at what everybody else's 5 and 2 is. There, it seemed like they got 8 and 12 or 50 and 50, and I got this little amount, and I'm comparing what I have, and I'm not, and because I'm comparing and looking around, I'm not bringing what I have to Jesus, and He can't multiply. Well, He can multiply what we don't give Him. But boy, oh boy, it's something about that obedience piece. So I want you to think about it for yourself. What are you discounting? What are your gifts? What are your resources? What has He gifted you uniquely to do, but you've already decided it's not enough? Or maybe you've decided that the problem is too big for what you have to offer. And we're not going to Him first and bringing our 5 and 2 to Him. So I have a couple of questions I really want you to wrestle with. What is my 5 and 2? What is you probably know already. Just type in chat. You ain't gotta say what it is, but if you already know the part of you that you're discounting, right? The thing that He's calling you to do, but you're looking at this God-sized vision and your man-sized ability, and you've already decided that it's a no, don't give God His no. Because let's be clear, He will do it without you. But there is something so beautiful about participating in the miracle. There's something that's so beautiful because now you have evidence. So then when He calls you to do something again and again and again, you're like, God, I put it in your hands because I've seen what you've done before with my 5 and 2. But He wants your obedience. He wants my obedience. So here are a couple questions that I just like have for myself that I'm like, I want you to screenshot these and really ask God this as you go back and as you go through this and the other versions. But so am I only focused on the problem and wanting it to go away? Right? I don't want to do the hard work, God. I just want, I see the problem, like the weight of the world, the weight of my situation, it feels like it's suffocating me and I just want it to go away. But what if He's like, no, 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 you feed Him. No, 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 you do it. Right? Because I'm going to do something through you. And I need it to be you so that my glory will be revealed because you're going to have a responsibility to let everybody know that it was me and not you. Number 2, am I bringing the problem to God and seeking His solution or my own plan for Him to approve? Are your prayers, Lord, I thank you for who you are. I thank you. I just want you to bless my business. If you can send me 8 buyers by Tuesday, in the name of Jesus, Lord, you are righteous if you do that, right? Or are you saying, you know what, God, this is the need. do like me and Kim did. Write it down. This is the need. I cannot wait to see what you do because it is raggedy. It is stressing me out, but I'm going to give it to you so that I can see exactly what you do with it. I'm going to be obedient. Am I operating in faith or feelings? And here is like another one with that. And the only way to operate in faith is to have some. But the Bible also says like we only need mustard seed faith, right? We only need mustard seed faith, but we don't want to stay with mustard seed faith. You know what I'm saying? The only way to move from mustard seed faith to mountaintop faith is faith by faith. We grow faith by faith. You're never going to grow. I'm never going to grow faith by faith if we don't actually operate in faith, right? If we're not obeying what He's saying. And then, am I keeping what I have for myself out of fear? There's a lot of people hurting around us. Our pastor always says, like, God gives us more than enough, not for you. He does not give, like contrary to popular belief, Jesus did not come and down the cross so that you can live a comfy life, so that I can live a comfy life, right? And it might not be like a monetary thing, right? I think about like when last year when the Lord was like, I was like, okay, I want to serve the besties, how to serve them. And it was like Bible study. I'm like, cool, who gonna do it? Lord, I set up the Zoom link, just bring the teacher, Jesus. And he like, you do it, right? Because what I have done in your life, Rosemary, it is too good to keep for yourself out of fear. Out of fear of what? People gonna judge you because you wave the banner that you love me more than you love real estate, money, and all that other stuff. No, 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 no. So what is it for you? What are you keeping tightly for yourself because you're scared of losing it? You're scared of what people will say. You're scared of not having enough, right? Because we are not operating like God is the provider of all the things. And am I bringing what I have to God even if it feels small? Even if it feels like my offering is not enough for the task that you bring before me. Are you bringing it to him? Because this is what we know is that he multiplies it and he multiplies it. And when we are willing to bring what we have to him, even when we are discounting it, what he does is there will be surplus. But if we hold it tightly for ourselves and ourselves only, then it's a closed hand, right? It's a closed hand. And then, am I obeying? This is the hard one without needing to know the full plan. That's the one that hit. Am I going to do what he tells me to do without needing to know the full plan? Because that, my friend, is what faith really is, right? If I know that the mac and cheese is gonna be good, I don't have to have faith in Michelin to cook it. I just know it's gonna be good. But faith is like, I don't know how this is going to turn out. But what I know is that I got evidence you've never failed me yet. What I know is that you have called me for a time as this. What I know is that nothing in your word is going to come back void. What I know that you have never left and forsaken me, and you're not going to start leaving me now. What I know is that you are better than any reward. So even if this all blows up in my face, what I know is that what I'm going to gain in you through this experience, it will be worth it. That's what faith is. So my prayer, daughter, is, or look, I'm like daughter. Look, I'm out here like Conway. That's my pastor. My prayer, though, is the enemy will want nothing more for you to minimize what you have. You minimize your 5 and 2 and say it's not enough because he knows that he knows that you're smart enough to not go out here robbing and scamming people and all this stuff. He knows that. But if he could just shut you up, if he could just minimize your offering, right? If he could place seeds of doubt so that you will stay silent, if he can have you hoard what you have because you are so focused on lack when we claim to serve the God of abundance, like that's what he wants. But I don't know about you. I can't speak for you. Maybe me and Ariel. I can speak for me and Rosemary Lorenzo because we share a name. Okay. What I can say is, but for the grace of God that was on our side. What I will say is that, you know what, Lord, I want to learn the lessons from the disciples, right? I don't want to judge them. But when I am faced with a problem, Lord, let tonight be the day that I decide that I bring my problems to you, right? I'm not offering a solution unless you ask me for one. When you tell me to go feed them, Lord, all I want to know is which direction, right? And I'm going to trust you. And here's the thing, I expect to be weak. So because I'm going to be weak, I'm also going to commit my time, to commit my schedule, to commit my habits, to being in your word, to fellowshipping with your daughters, to being in a Bible teaching church, right? To being in community where I am going to get the strength to do what you have called me to do, even when it's not enough. Because what I know is that when, with, and through you, all things are possible and it will be more than enough. That's my commitment, and that is my prayer for me, and that is my prayer for you. Because if you haven't noticed, the world needs it, right? The world needs it. The world needs us to rise up in the marketplace, be lights, wave the banner only for Jesus, and to bring our not enough and let him multiply it, and we will see the effects. In Jesus' name.
If you enjoyed this episode and you have a real life bestie that you think it would resonate with, y'all, do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that share button, because you know what? We are better together. Make sure you share the podcast, and I appreciate your reviews. I appreciate you giving me 5 stars more than you know. I'll talk to you next week.